Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the SATAMonkeys podcast. I'm your host, Too Fat, and today I'm joined by Bear $16, your small boy bear.
Hello.
Dummy Thick Chopstick or Charles.
Hi.
And Ryan Water.
Hello.
What the fuck does Ryan Water mean?
Water.
I don't get the water ice
Ice,
salt meme. I
salt.
don't get that.
Lemon. Anyways.
That's what that's from. I've only ever heard the shitty meme version where it's just water, lemons, and then he screams. And then there's fucking Doug Doug the movie guy or whatever clapping. That's the only version I've ever seen. We got some pretty interesting topics here, and we'll get right into it. Our first one's from Vice.com, or Vice. Hacker got all my text for $16. And the flaw that seems to be exploited here, which is really surprising to me that this is even a thing that people can just go and do, is it used a service called, where is it here? Sakari. This hacker, who was told he could do so, hack this vice person's account as a test. Lucky225, who I dare even call a hacker, because it's not really what they are, more of an exploiter. They paid this $16 of the service and submitted a number, specifically the phone number of the vice person here who gave them the phone number, and successfully, by only pretty much entering the phone number, and that's about it, with the exception of they had to sign some fake or some agreement with a fake name or some shit. They routed all texts and calls from this person's phone number through this service, so essentially to themselves. And this is an issue that you actually a person cannot detect without hunting for it. So it could happen to me or Rob or Charles or anyone right now, and we wouldn't know unless we started to look into it, or if we didn't receive a text from anyone for 30 days. But for me, at least, that's normal because I don't use MMS for anything. But I don't know. I assume you guys text probably more than I do.
No, I text probably less than you do.
Is that true for everyone else?
I use Signal, if that counts.
Oh.
Mainly, I get text from my mom telling me she's at my school to pick me up.
Nah, she's at the schools to do other shit.
School.
Your mom's going to school.
Yeah.
Mom's going to high school. Nah, this is just really concerning to me overall. I know my explanations of this shit are always very vague, oh, this is bad, but no, this really is fucking terrible. This is just straight up anyone can do anything, and bam, you're gone. You're not getting any texts or calls anymore. It's gonna go through them, and if you don't get texts a lot like I do, you probably wouldn't even notice. Now this does say that Sakari, once they were contacted about this, they implemented shit, so they what is it? It can't happen anymore. They implemented multiple checks or something like that. It calls the person whose number you're submitting to confirm that that's what they want to do. But before that, this was pretty much anyone can do anything. And I had something I wanted.
You can still easily human engineer them, whatever the term is, social engineer.
That's true.
If you call the person before and then you say, hey, we're going to do this and you have to confirm, and then you do that and they call you.
Oh yeah, no, you're not wrong there. But that's takes far more effort comparatively to paying $16 and entering a phone number. That takes far more effort than have to come up with a plausible story and convince the person, because every person's different. So at least there's an actual step in there to prevent this from happening to just anyone. Fuck, I had something I wanted to say about it and I just completely fucking forgot. Oh yeah, no, there we go. Sorry, my brain turned back on. Someone who, although I was never able to replicate it, who's found an exploit, although not with phone numbers, it's what they said called Audius. I found an exploit very similar to this, which, because it only ever happened to me, has been named Fatsploit, and has not been replicated since it happened to me by accident. But an exploit very similar to this in regards to taking control of anyone's anything, although in my case it was hypothetically. This is kind of scary, And I'm glad that Sakari like instantly did something about it. They instantly said, "Okay, we're gonna implement checks. Someone's gonna get called if their number's entered in to confirm that this is what they want." That was a really good step. I kind of didn't expect that. I was kind of thinking this would be a story that would exist for like a few months or a few weeks at least before they did something about it. But no, they did something immediately, which is good. That said, I believe it's Lucky or a different person here goes on to state that it took them a few minutes to find a different provider. So that like for context here on how this is done, Sakari have private deals with the big telecom companies like T-Mobile, fucking Verizon, I'm blank. Sprint's not even a telecom company anymore. What are the big three? There's T-Mobile, there's Verizon. What's the one I'm forgetting? My brain is shut down. No, they don't. No, as in, okay, Epic. I mean, like cell phone service provider.
AT&T.
AT&T. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Comcast.
Comcast is not one of them. That's just not. I don't mean the landlines, if that's what you mean, Epic. But no, I've never heard of. Did Comcast provide cell service on their own network that isn't borrowed? Because I've never heard of that. It's like saying Spectrum's a provider, but they literally just get it from like T-Mobile. Same with TracFone. But they essentially these like Sakari here, they have deals with these companies. So that's how they can route all your stuff through to something else without like having to call that, like, having to contact that company and get permission from them and then get permission from you, because they're already integrated with these big companies. They don't need to go through all that. Which is kind of fucking scary that anyone could just do that. And it reminds me of a lot of when like YouTubers would just, or not YouTubers, assholes who would call the phone providers of like a YouTuber's phone service, and they'd say, "Hey, can you get this number transferred to this SIM card?" And they just say, "Oh yeah, sure, okay." And they just transfer a YouTuber's fucking like number and everything to a different SIM card, and he got SIM swapped. That I remember when that shit was rampant on YouTube, and this reminds me of that. So it's good to see Sakari took action. I'm really, really concerned that they say, "Oh yeah, well, I found another provider in like 2 to 3 minutes." That's not really good. I feel like in a way that kind of falls on the big telecom providers, the big cell service providers, to look into who the fuck they're licensing their shit to. But that said,
you're totally right.
For all I know, maybe these guys are contracted with subsidiaries of these big companies. That they like per se they're contracted with TracFone, and TracFone literally contract with the big three. Maybe there's some sort of middleman that these the big three won't look into, or just don't have the capacity to look into, and they won't find it because maybe it isn't on their network. I don't really know. It's not really clear to the public how these deals are done because they're not exactly public facing deals, which makes sense, to be fair. But I don't know. I really hope that these other methods have already implemented the call the user whose number is being entered thing, or some type of security system that prevents anyone from getting their number routed. Because if so, if they have not, Vice just inadvertently published an article pretty much fucking telling people how to do this. What I should have done before reporting on this, I'm gonna do it now. Let's see if I can find anything here. I searched Sakari. Let's do Sakari alternative. Let's see if we get anything for Sakari alternative. Let's do SMS because I'm getting like a bunch of beauty salons. What the fuck? Marketo Engage, Bird Eye, Easy Texting, Down My Call. These are all listed as alternatives. I have not tested them to figure out if they have the same exact flaw as Satari did or anything else like that. But there are, if I can search alternative and find, this is literally here without clicking on the webpage to see them all, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different alternatives to Sakari in one thing. So I don't know. I'll probably test those and get back to it next episode because I do want to see if that's still a flaw. But yeah, this is a really good investigative piece from Vice. That's really all else I have to say. Normally I'm kind of critical of Vice's work, but this is actually really good. We'll move on here to a story from. I'm gonna keep this window open. We're gonna move on here to a story from Rockstar, an update from Rockstar, and a very unlikely one too. This is actually, the article itself is from PC Gamer, which I mistook for IGN because of the red logo. Rockstar actually went ahead and implemented well, I shouldn't say implemented because we don't know for sure, but they, in some form, fixed the loading times based on the work of the the editor of the code of GTA 5 mentioned in the previous episode, Toaster CX. Toaster CX also confirmed that they were awarded $10,000 through Rockstar's bug bounty program, which is normally only reserved for security and privacy issues, despite the name of bug bounty. But nonetheless, they still gave him $10,000, which I think is a pretty rare thing for Rockstar. Who here thought, because I know I did, who here thought that Rockstar was just gonna send the lawyers to this guy's house with a cease and desist? Because I really thought
did.
Yeah.
Probably.
I was thinking that they were just going to ignore him.
I can't imagine Rockstar ignoring him. I don't know if you remember the I think we may have reported on this. There was the guy who made a Red Dead 2 HD mod, Red Dead 1
right to his house.
Yeah, Red Dead 1 HD
door,
mod.
Basically.
Yeah, they they sent private investigators, managed to find the guy's address, and then from there they opened a can of worms and found his mother's phone, his mother's address. And they went to his mom's house and gave the cease and desist to her and to him at his own house and shit like that. It was that shit was insane, and that was just a mod to make to essentially add HD textures to Red Dead 1, not Red Dead 2. I accidentally said that. And they were that harsh about what really doesn't amount to anything other than them getting more sales for a game that they released in 2008. So I'm not sure why they did that. I don't think anyone is.
Would it even give him more sales? Did he upload the entire game?
No, he uploaded the essentially the mod.
It's just a shader.
No, it wasn't just a shader. No, if it was just a shader, that would have been done. That probably exists. Those take 5 minutes to make. It was not just a shader. It was a full HD rework of all the textures. They were all in HD. I don't know if it was AI upscaled or if he made them from scratch. Although I do know he made some from scratch, if I remember reading correctly. It was not just a shader. It was a complete overhaul of the game's graphics. But the reason it would generate Rockstar more money is, at any rate, it brings attraction back to Red Dead 1. People who didn't own it before would be like, holy shit, I can play Red Dead 1 now.
I thought you meant it would bring money away from them.
No, that's not what I meant. It would bring money to Rockstar because people would buy the game. And I guess Rockstar, I'm not sure what they didn't like about it. I'm not sure why they were so harsh. I don't remember this exactly, so I could be wrong here, so don't quote me. But if I remember correctly, the guy did try and fight the lawsuit and lost. But I also heard his defense was really, really weak.
Ouch.
So I don't really remember exactly how that all went, but I believe he lost. I really think he should have just taken the cease and desist and not done anything and just hope they didn't sue him. Because at that point, if they're going after you for what amounts to really doing nothing but a favor for them, essentially do an actual proper remaster of their game for free, and not offering game assets for free, I don't understand. I never understood the issue there, but I don't know. It's Rockstar's IP at the end of the day. But either way, it was quite surprising to me that this Toaster CX guy didn't just get a fucking lawsuit or some shit. That said, I almost wonder if he didn't get hit with a lawsuit or anything because of the sheer size of the findings and how many people saw them and how big a creators promoted them and said, wow, this is really cool. I remember Dark Viper AU tweeted about it, who's one of the biggest GTA streamers and YouTubers right now. And especially compared to the Red Dead situation, I don't think the Red Dead 1 community is exactly very large in 2020 or 2019. I forget which year the story originated, but either way, I don't think that was very popular then compared to when it released, and I don't think it's any more popular now. But GTA 5 is not only still popular and played amongst a fuck ton of people, but the content is also watched, and the fact that huge influencers tweeted this out or talked about this probably made Rockstar think, if we hit this guy with a lawsuit, we're probably going to get like a bunch of people from the YouTube community like paying him money to get the best lawyers to go up against us and all that shit.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's out of character for Rockstar to not hit this guy with a lawsuit.
I'm just really hoping this happens again, but somebody finds, like, I don't know, some internet technician figures out how to fix the peer-to-peer shit with servers. Because, like,
there's not exactly an easy fix. There are things there's security
but...
things they can put in place to change that,
Yeah.
but they would have to be constantly updated because they'll inevitably get broken. What they really should do is just have everyone connect to a central server. I don't believe they do because it's peer-to-peer. That at that point the only thing
Is
getting
GTA peer-to-peer?
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
pretty
It is.
certain.
Oh.
You can get booted offline through GTA.
Huh.
It's still insane to me how like 10 years ago, in order to DDoS someone, it took an entire network of computers, and now it just takes one computer. And
Yeah, I think
boot it
some
offline.
mod menus for online do have an option to like boot somebody off. I'm not sure. All I know is that there's definitely an option to kick them off of the game.
Yeah, I'm
Also you can set up so it happens automatically if they, for example, try and report you.
Oh yeah, no, I had that happen to me with a guy that Epic played with.
I know
a
somebody
modder
who
Epic played
actually
with.
got a mod menu with that, and I still hate them for it.
Yeah, no, if I remember correctly, at one point someone attempted to boot me offline in GTA, and it half worked. I couldn't get on like GTA Online, so that part worked. But in terms of like an actual DDoS, it only hit my speeds down to 270 megs down and still 20 up, which I get 400 down, and then over Ethernet normally get about 390 to 410 down. So, and also we get technically
Wait, hang on. Did you say you have faster Wi-Fi than LAN?
No, okay, let me back it up a bit and explain it more clearly. We pay for 400 megs down into the router, as in from the modem, which means from Spectrum, to the router. We get 460 down to make sure we never have any more like issues with the speeds not being right. They overcompensated a bit. I'm not sure if that's true for everyone. I believe they said it is, but they did overcompensate and give us 460 down. Then over Ethernet, so this like 12-foot run from my router to my computer, I get 390 to 410 megs down of that 460.
I see. Makes more sense.
So with this DDoS, my speeds over Ethernet went down to about 270 down. The 20 up is almost always there because I'm almost positive it's Spectrum just artificially limiting it for every single customer, with the exception of those who have gigabit, who get 50 megs upload, which still fucking blows.
Wait, you only 50 upload?
You only get 50 upload if you have gigabit. If you have anything below, you get 20 upload.
Oh, that sucks. I've got like a 1-to-1 on mine, so it's almost always above 70 upload for me.
Well, unfortunately, we only have Spectrum in my area. But either way,
that sucks.
I think the only reason they weren't able to actually DDoS me successfully is because, as I've said a few times on the podcast now, in, I believe it was mid-2019, we got fed up with Spectrum artificially limiting our speeds, went all out and spent about $500 on the like literally latest and greatest networking equipment. It was a DOCSIS 3.1 modem, which at the time there was only one super high-end one, and it was from Netgear. That's what we got. I forget the name of it, but you can look it up. It's still rated as one of the best DOCSIS 3.1 modems. And a TP-Link AX6000, or as I call it, the spider, because it literally looks like an upside-down spider. It's got 8 antennas. And it's fucking massive. And this shit, I don't, you're not gonna have an easy time taking this down. That's not an invitation to anyone watching. But you're not gonna have an easy time taking it down just because this shit it's not built to withstand it, but it's built to handle super high anything. So a super high level of packets getting thrown at it, it's meant to handle that. So although it may bog down a bit, it's gonna handle it. Realistically, you probably will need at least a few computers DDoSing our network to take it down. It's not as easy as most. And then you could argue you could DDoS Spectrum, but that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. It would be. Either way, that is an issue though. Circling back, I just wanted to state that like no one's exempt, including me. I've had an attempted DDoS through GTA Online. It's the only game that's ever happened, and I pissed some people I knew were hackers in games that aren't GTA off, and they didn't try that shit, and some of them were even peer to peer. The GTA community with like modding and taking people offline and IP related shit seems to be like their favorite thing to do, aside from just being an asshole.
There's like a lot of security holes in GTA Online. Like I'm glad to see that they're fixing the loading times, but like for God's sakes, like make us feel a little bit safer. Like, but it's gotten so bad. That mod menu that I mentioned before, that my friend got, they literally have a list of all the Rockstar devs' usernames. So if they go into the game, they can go, oh, nope, bye. Like, fucking...
I wouldn't call that too advanced. It's probably pretty well known at this point who they are. I mean,
like at least have some sleeper agents.
I don't know. I've seen people say there are ways to fix like some of the peer-to-peer shit in GTA 5 Online. I'm not sure if there really are or not. That seems like it really just to me, who, mind you, I'm not a hacker. I'm not like a guy super into networking stuff. I know pretty basic level shit. But from what I've seen and from my own, just like deducing shit logically, there's not a great way to patch that. There's ways to circumvent it and to make it harder, but they can be broken.
Yeah, I just looked it up, and Rockstar uses like a mesh networking, which means you directly send the information that say you shot someone to that person, and then that person's game accepts that they got shot.
Yeah.
So there's no validation that that shot would actually hit someone at all there.
Yeah.
It's just one game says, hey, I hit you. And then the other game is like, okay, let me deduct health.
Hey, I hit you.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
Okay.
It makes a lot of sense on why they're trying to why they're trying to get as much money as possible, because they aren't even spending the money to rent servers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But GTA 6,
they do have
fingers
one
crossed,
server.
maybe they fix everything.
They have matchmaking servers, and that's the only servers they have, apparently.
That's true, yeah. So it's a good thing that Rockstar did. It's really nice that they paid this guy. I wasn't expecting them to, let alone actually implement the fix, but it's really nice to see that.
And also, I'm just gonna mention this. I've noticed that there's been a bit of confusion. It's IRL money.
Yeah, no, they didn't give me
$10,000 in GTA would suck.
Yeah,
buy like a candy bar with that.
Yeah,
like literally, that's just like 1,000 more than a top bounty.
But I do
imagine,
hope,
like, oh, here you go. Here's your 10,000 GTA money. Now fuck off.
I do hope in the future, Rockstar do offer bug bounties for more shit like this that are just like security issues, and more importantly, that they implement these types of fixes when they're found. Yeah, and to be fair, I can understand why this took Rockstar a few weeks to do, because they're a business, and automatically there's more going on than just one person. But it's good to see that it got done. Many were fearing that they wouldn't implement this. We're gonna move on here to a story that I don't actually have in, because I just realized I didn't put it in. I don't believe. I'm looking through here. I didn't. But it's a big one nonetheless, and we did not cover it last week. I was like, oh, maybe it was last week's, and no, we didn't. This is an update to the Nvidia RTX 3060 thing. I forget, was it the 3060 Ti or the normal 3060? I've literally forgotten. They're like the same fucking card.
I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna Google it. Yep, it was the RTX 3060, not the Ti. Here, we'll link some fucking article from The Verge. Here we go. We're gonna just shoehorn this in right now. You guys don't really need to read it. I'll just kind of read it as we go, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, it's from The Verge. Nvidia confirms it accidentally unlocked the RTX 3060's Ethereum mining. The thing that they touted, that's a secure handshake between the silicon and
Did you say accidentally?
Yeah, I'll explain it in a second.
Oh!
they said it was, a secure handshake between the silicon and I think it was the VBIOS, and it's great, and no one can crack it. Well, Nvidia themselves fucked it up. They released a beta driver for the 3060, and within that beta driver, they broke the handshake. From what I've read, they didn't remove it, they just broke it by accident. So you could run the 3060 at full hash rate. And within hours, Nvidia quickly pulled the beta driver and said, sorry, that was a mistake. We didn't mean to do that. It's too fucking late. I assume, although I haven't looked, I guarantee to you right now, you can search for that beta driver and find it and download it. It's going to be so fucking easy to. So the 3060, it had a good run of a week and a half to 2 weeks of not being scalped.
And literally the people to crack it is themselves.
Yeah. I just said not being scalped, but I'm realizing now I'm pretty sure these cards were scalped anyways. With people anticipating that this would be cracked. But yeah, they didn't even need to be cracked. We just had to wait for Nvidia to fuck up after 2 weeks. So yeah, I don't know if you're interested in being an asshole in 3060 Bitcoin mining or Ethereum mining, you can do that now. And also, you could already regarding me saying Bitcoin mine, you could already Bitcoin mine, I believe. So people the 3060, when you think about that only Ethereum mining was disallowed, it was already destined. It was already destined to be scalped. You can mine shit other than Ethereum on it.
And
you
then
can mine
trade for Ethereum.
You can buy. Well, yeah, true, but even so, you can mine Bitcoin. You can mine altcoins, coins that aren't on the Ethereum network, I believe. I'm not sure if you could mine coins that are in the Ethereum network but are not Ethereum. I'd assume you can't. But I really don't understand. The more we see what this limit was, what the fuck they were thinking. And to be fair to the Bitcoin mining aspect, apparently it's recommended now for most Bitcoin miners you have an ASIC. I don't know what it is other than it's a $500 device that is its own thing that helps a ton with Bitcoin mining. I have not looked into it too much.
Yeah, I looked up a little bit on it, and it's just something that's purposefully designed to make it as good as possible. I don't even get why people try and use graphics cards in the first place.
Because at one point they were the best option in terms of how much electricity they consume, x their hash rate in masses.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure ASICs are way better nowadays.
Well, nowadays, yes, but...
Wait, what's the best option?
So I don't understand why people would be scalping for mining in the first place.
Rob, an ASIC, an ASIC. Charles, you can look into any different number of reasons.
So there's an alternative to this?
Well, it's for Bitcoin mining. But that said, I'm not sure about Ethereum mining. From what I know, graphics cards are still likely the best for Ethereum mining. I've only heard ASIC being referred to as super important for Bitcoin nowadays.
But I just want to ask, unless I'm missing something, did Nvidia really need to confirm it?
I
would have kept it down the hush hush.
I think it's...
Yeah, they do have Ethereum versions.
They do, but Charles, I don't know if they are better than...
Yeah, you might be right about not being better.
In regards to Nvidia, admitting that they fucked it up here, I think it's a lot better than the alternative of news agencies reporting it, and then a week later, news agencies reporting that Nvidia is mysteriously taking down re-uploads of this beta that they hosted for a few hours. I think it's a much better alternative to that because Nvidia is going to look bad either way in this situation, but this way they look less bad. And then by proxy, some people already saw Nvidia, some people already thought this was a bad idea from Nvidia from the start. So this was, there's no way to look at this that doesn't make Nvidia look bad. Even before this happened, when it was just them locking it, there are many that saw this as a bad idea, and they have pretty strong arguments for it. So I don't know. I guess it makes me. First of all, I have two things. One, it's been rumored that with the 3080 Ti, which is not confirmed to exist yet, by the way, so there's still rumors. I'm pretty sure the 3090, the 3090 specific purpose was to eliminate the Ti, but apparently there might still be a 3080 Ti, and the rumors say that they may introduce the same hash rate limiting shit on the 3080 Ti, which would be quite interesting, especially after this. I'd love to know if that's true, but Nvidia has not confirmed or denied anything related to that card, so we don't really know. But I do want to know if it's going to be interesting to see if that is an actual real card Nvidia are going to manufacture, if they have the shit on it or not. But number two, and this is the bigger part, if you guys remember, when they launched the 3060, they also launched a SKU of mining-specific cards that were essentially like 3060 silicone, but with a bunch of changes to be more like actually mining focused and not really be able to be gamed on. They launched them alongside the 3060 specifically to combat, in their eyes, rather, combat mining on gamer cards. I'd say consumer grade, but either of them are consumer. So let's just say like gaming cards. What the fuck is their purpose now? If you can just buy a 3060 and use this specific BIOS, people are gonna buy a mix of both.
They might be better.
Oh well, I doubt it.
We'll have to see.
If they're better, it's gonna be by like a small amount. And I'd imagine also too, keep in mind, they didn't catch on when Nvidia last tried it. When the Bitcoin craze, when the Bitcoin craze happened, there was which was during the 10 series, there was the P10X line, which was I believe there was the P106, 104, and 102, which were mining variants of the 1060, 1070, and 1080 respectively. They had no display outs, and they were just mining cards. Now, Linus Tech Tips did a video where they were able to engineer a driver to allow it to be gamed on with an NVIDIA Game Ready driver for a 1060 on the P106 100, and then they ran it through some sort of thing to get it to display out via integrated graphics, but it was still the same power of a GPU.
Yeah, I remember that video.
It was a pretty interesting video. But they didn't catch on. The only place I know they caught on for sure was overseas. I know they were big in other countries, and there was a huge used market for them at one point on China. I actually had a P106 100 from China that was like $80 when a comparable 1060 at the time was about $160, which is also sadly what they're at now for a good 1060. But this was in 2018. This was a different, completely different time at that point. But they caught on. They didn't catch on the U.S. and the fact that they're marketing them here, these new ones. Most people are just citing the failure of the P106 or P10X line as indicators that the new line's gonna fail. It's gonna have the same fate. I guess what I don't understand, in your guys' opinion here, because I don't get it either, and there's not a lot of info to go on. I don't think. Why the fuck did the P10X series fail? What I don't get the problem with it. There were cards made just for mining. They didn't have display outs, which I guess could be attributed to part of it. But if you're buying shit just to crypto mine, and let's assume, because if I remember correctly, these cards, I don't think they were more expensive than their counterparts. Why weren't there at the very least mixes of both in the US? Like, why didn't people have mining rigs that had both 1060s and P106 100s?
They probably wanted to be able to resell it if they weren't going to make their money back or something.
That's true, because the resale market for graphics cards after Bitcoin crashed was either late 2018 or early 2019 was pretty insane for a little bit. That's probably the main reason. You're probably right, Charles. So they could resell it, and then at that point that brings up the question of what's the resellability in these new generations versus the P10X concept. I don't see it. I don't see any resellability at all. You're going to run a card down to running 500 to 1,000 megahertz, probably more like 500 megahertz under stock clock, and then resell it, but it also can't display out. And these new ones, I don't think there's been a method yet for game ready stuff, so you can't even run game ready. It doesn't seem like a great offer. So I guess I see that now. I genuinely didn't understand it before. But yeah, I don't know. I had a feeling that, and I can't even say that. I kind of thought when NVIDIA said at the silicone level, this isn't something like people can hack. I really thought it was going to take people like a solid 6 months to figure it out. But luckily no one had to do shit and NVIDIA fucked up.
Yay!
I really hope whoever fucked it up, whoever accidentally released this driver is not penalized. They're like, cool.
That's the thing I'm most worried about.
Yeah. Something tells me too, with these drivers, it's obviously not one person working on them and then also that same person releasing them. There's definitely teams that work on these beta drivers before they're pushed out. So I really hope the person who pushed it isn't like heavily penalized. He's probably just doing his job. I hope the teams that pushed a driver with this type of flaw, because these probably have to be tested before they're released, and if they tested all this on the one card where they're heavily promoting how its hash rate's limited, and they tested everything on the beta driver and say, yeah, this is good, and they didn't notice that the hash rate wasn't limited, and then pushed it to get pushed out, there's like that team needs to be looked into a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I normally I'd say do this or don't do this, but I don't have any good advice here, because part of me wants to say miners don't buy a 3060 and leave some for other people, but on the other end, it's not really a great card. Like it doesn't. Its only purpose, the only thing that makes it a good card right now is the fact that it is more obtainable than any other card, of like the 30 series. That's it. That's the only difference. So it's not really a great card in my eyes. I think the 30, literally any other 30 series card is better, and especially for the prices in a way. I don't know. Don't be an asshole, essentially. That's really all I can say. Don't buy the entire stock of 3060s. But I can't imagine anyone who's got like a spare like $7,000 laying around is watching the SATAMonkeys podcast.
If they are, they should give it to us.
Yeah, give it to us, bro. We'll take your free money. We just
do you know how much we can improve the podcast with $7,000?
Yeah, I can buy another 14 tera and store at least 3 more podcasts on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want 3 more podcasts, pay us $7,000 right
pay
now.
Us $7,000 for 3 more episodes.
We're holding the podcast hostage.
Yeah. I'll talk briefly about the podcast for a bit, or rather SATAMonkeys. We do, and I for the record, I didn't tell you guys I was going to announce this here because I was just thinking about it earlier. But I'll announce it now in this podcast. There is a pretty big video project that I have in the works that I'm working on. I'm going to start doing research for very soon. It's a project that I wanted to do for a while. I was planning on doing it on my main channel and just lost interest, but now it has an actual place in SATAMonkeys, whereas in my channel you have videos of me playing Siege with the Ear Rape Monsters Inc. theme that doesn't fit like a serious investigative video at all. This channel, and especially its tech relation, it really does have that. So expect that hopefully sometime this summer. I'm aiming for before September, but it may end up releasing in September, maybe even December. But I am going to start working on it soon, and I hope you guys are looking forward to that. And I also have a few other smaller video ideas planned that will hopefully help grow the channel. I don't know. I'd like to be more transparent with SATAMonkeys than other people are with their own stuff, like with their own podcast and shit. But yeah, we will move on here to fucking meme article, I guess, because this is okay, I have shit to explain after I read this title here. It's from IGN. Fall Guys getting Among Us costumes with mysterious, unique features. Bean is sus. Fuck you, IGN. I don't know if Epic remembers this, but I thought Among Us and Fall Guys were the same game.
Like, you can mention that, like, after the last
I don't remember.
I remember you mentioning that recently, or somebody.
Yeah, I actually, like, when they released, I thought they were the same game. Their style is so similar. Like, it's just its simplicity. And I'm like, oh yeah, Among Us fucking Fall... Like, I get it confused.
When the Fall Guys are sus.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the freaking, like, little... I don't know what the text is, but below the title it says Venus. Sus!
Okay. Yeah,
Sussy.
Yeah. This seems like more of a joke. This seems like they like the fucking Fall Guys devs like saw the joke that many people be like Among Us, Among Us in Fall Guys, or just saw like the timing, and they're like, yo, we should do an Among Us crossover. I don't know like how they managed to think of this, other than
It's two bean games.
I guess.
Mm.
I mean, I don't get it. It's no crazier than Peter Griffin potentially coming to Fortnite, which I'm still waiting for, by the way. I'm still really hoping that's a thing at some point, and it wasn't just Epic Games leaving some meme beta dev image in the files. But yeah, this is, I guess, cool if you own Fall Guys or really like Among Us. I don't own Fall Guys, and I really don't play Among Us.
I want to like this, but I also hate it. Like,
the fact that they chose the red Among Us thing and mentioned sus in the article just makes me go, oh, great. Here
like,
we
I think it's
go.
because, like, I'm, like, inside, I'm desperately trying to, like, get myself away from Among Us funny sus.
Yeah.
But it's, ugh.
I think the best part about, the best part about Among Us just existing is how Jerma's face has been, like, more people have seen Jerma's face as the when the imposter is sus guy, most likely anyways, than they've actually seen him as Jerma985. It's very, very likely more people know him as the weird face meme guy. Yeah, the sus guy than they do as Jerma.
And the poor guy's trying to get away from that, but like...
And then there's shit like, oh man... Oh, I just fucking forgot. I don't know. I've never been able to get over how Jerma's face blew up. And I had people who sent me like that when the imposter sus meme when that first became a thing. And I was like, yeah, that's Jerma. Like, who the fuck's Jerma?
Oh god.
I remember what I was gonna say. It was the peak of it was when the Among Us subreddit banned when the imposter is sus memes.
Oh!
With Jerma's face. They said if it has his face, that's not allowed.
Yeah, Jerma is banned from the Among Us subreddit.
I wonder if they banned his actual Reddit account from the subreddit.
I don't know if they banned his actual Reddit account. I hope they didn't, because he didn't do anything wrong.
From the Among Us
I know, what if he just shows up in the Among Us subreddit, like, hey, it's Jerma985 holding a Q&A.
I highly doubt he'd ever do that. Yeah, I don't know if you like Fall Guys or Among Us. Cool. This was just a meme article, dude. This must have been a slow news day at IGN is all I can say. Like, oh wow, guys, we got news.
I think
Fall Guys is getting Among Us costumes.
I think they got a little tip from the devs of Fall Guys, and apparently they said that like mysterious, unique features or whatever.
All right, we'll move on here to a story of like actual newsworthiness. This from Mashable. Zoom Escaper makes it easy to sabotage that unbearable Zoom meeting. Now, upon looking at this originally, I thought this was a more advanced thing. I thought it was an app. It does not appear that it is an app. It appears that it's a website. But essentially what Zoom Escaper seems to be is a combination of using virtual audio cable and then a bunch of different either effects or noises that you can play through virtual audio cable, which by extension will go through your mic to the people in a Google Meet or a Zoom call or something like that. Now, although it's cool, I'm assuming this is built into a website. I didn't actually go check it out, but just by looking at it there, it seems to be... Did they even link to it in the fucking article, by the way? Yes, they do. And it's a website, yeah. That's what I thought. It's cool that it's on a website. I actually really like that. That said, the more I read into this is something that it could already be done pretty easily with
I think it's just a joke anyway.
Yeah. You could have done anything like this, not only with virtual audio cable and then a program called Resonance, which is free and is like community run and is open source, I believe. Which is just straight up a soundboard that runs through virtual audio cable. It's no different than this. Albeit it has some bugs, but it's also a bit more versatile. But you could also, which I discovered recently, you could do all of this for the most part without virtual audio cable through you do need virtual audio cable, but you can do it through OBS by just setting up a scene with like some mic routing stuff in OBS itself. And if you have multiple mics plugged in, you don't even need virtual audio cable. You can just set one as like the middle mic. So, I don't know. I guess this is a cool thing for people who don't want to get Resonance or OBS. I kind of thought it was an app. Not gonna lie, that's why I originally added it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And it's not an app, so I'm a bit less excited. But man, it's gonna be great now.
Reading what it can do, it looks more like it wasn't even meant to be taken seriously by the dev.
I guess.
Like, man is crying in my room. I have to go.
Well, yeah, when you put it like that. I love the urination too. That's a great one.
Yeah, that too. It just doesn't seem
and
very
wind.
real.
Yeah, sorry, I'm in a tornado right now.
I can get wind because anyone can have a shitty microphone. And,
I'm gonna set this up right now.
Who's gonna have like wind blowing directly into their microphone?
If someone's right next to their microphone.
I really think only the bad connection one would help work.
Nah, you could to me, right? Hear me out. You could do both a combination of echo and wind, and say, "Sorry, my main microphone died. I'm using my webcam mic," and it would just be the worst garbage shit ever. Now like upset baby man weeping. I don't think would really.
Upset baby might work if you actually have a child.
Yeah,
but
dogs.
Otherwise,
dogs would have to be convincing, but I could buy that. Construction, I could buy that. Urination, why? Why the fuck is that there?
Someone's peeing on the floor in my room.
So yeah, someone's peeing on the floor in my room. Imagine saying that to someone. Not even a teacher. Imagine saying that in any other context than explaining here.
Sorry, somebody's pissing in my room.
Somebody's peeing on my floor. In my room. BRB. Worst BRB.
But yeah,
and you know the microphone's gonna have it like in super high quality, or the program. I guess it is a program. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna have super high quality.
Higher quality than the mic, or lower quality than the mic. So it's gonna be super obvious.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, like, oh, sorry, my baby's getting. We know you're using the soundboard mic.
Hold on. The bitrate of the microphone at the very end of it is limited to what the bitrate is in the virtual audio cable. So if you compress that down to like cell phone microphone quality, then that will compress all the audio down to cell phone microphone quality.
I see. So you just have to know about how to actually change audio and do all these audio related things in order to fake your bosses out into thinking you have to go.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, and the thing is,
the
thing is, at that point, why not just fucking put the bit rate for your main microphone down to like the worst possible quality and say, sorry guys, I'm using my like fucking webcam mic, and that would achieve a very similar effect.
Why don't you just use your webcam mic?
I'm pretty sure Windows has an option to do that.
Oh yeah, it does. That's what I'm referencing. You can just change that shit.
Yeah.
So I don't.
It's the only one they haven't blocked yet.
And then there's other things you can do. There's I forget the name of it. I think it's like ASIO for all. ASIO for all, I believe's the name. Which is used for some like audio modifications. I know a piece, which is by someone named Peter something. It's a way to modify like headphone volume stuff, but you can also use it to raise your microphone many hundreds of thousands of decibels over its limit. Keep in mind, decibels scale exponentially, not just
like by points.
Yeah, laterally I think would be the correct term to use there.
Yeah.
It's exponential. So
linearly, not laterally.
Linearly, yeah. 10 decibels is not the equivalent of like what you'd think. It's not if I increase my volume by 10. It's like if I increase my volume by about 100. Or something like that. It's way more than you'd think. So I remember I hopped into a call with Epic at one point because I was fucking around with it. My mic was 10 decibels louder than it was the last time we called. I'm like, hey, and I fucking threw his head. What is it? You threw your headphones off, didn't you, Epic? I know you screamed. You're like, what the fuck? And I heard something drop on the floor. I don't remember if you like threw your headphones off.
I know I didn't throw my headphones on the floor. I'm pretty sure I grabbed the volume wheel and just absolutely slammed it to the bottom.
And then you ended the call and wouldn't call me for another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I didn't know when I was doing that, to be fair, I didn't know they scaled exponentially. I normally, when I change audio shit in like Premiere, it's only by 1 or 2 decibels, so you don't really notice the exponential bit. So I never knew it was exponential. I thought it was just like, oh, plus 10 volume. It was gonna be more ear rapey, but no, it was like ear bleed level.
Hey!
Nice. That's enough, Rob. But yeah, I don't know. Pretty cool question mark. I mean, if you can't get Resonance because you're on a Mac, I guess that's cool. But I think Resonance is on Mac now. I don't even know if VB cable's on. I don't know. I'm not sure the purpose of this other than a joke that just got an article. So more thing about it, me saying this is newsworthy, it really isn't. I'm just wrong. But yeah, enjoy this Zoom escaper to your heart's content, I guess, and play like the same. Probably it's a loop of a urination sound in super high quality. That people will notice the cut in the loop. We'll move on here to a. Hopefully this time I'm right. Third time's a charm. Actually newsworthy story from Wired.com. Wikipedia is finally asking big tech to pay up. And although this article is way too long to just like give a brief summary of, giving a really condensed summary, it seems that Wikipedia has had enough of just not getting paid by the likes of Google mainly, in terms of Google integrating Wikipedia definitions and stuff into search results. So they're launching their own side project called, or not really side project, side business, I guess. It's not their main core anything because they're really less of a business and more of a open thing. But, or a nonprofit rather, excuse me. Wikimedia, or Wikimedia Enterprise, whatever the hell it's called in here, is going to have more options for on-the-fly updates of like Wikipedia than it normally does now. So from what this says here, the way right now the likes of Google and any other search engine that integrates Wikipedia into its search results for definitions, the way they compile them is they grab a daily uploaded, I guess, just full backup, it looks like, of the entire site, and that's just used, or it's like referenced for newer updates to stuff, and those are implemented. And apparently this new one will be available every time there's an update to a page. Granted, companies will have to pay for it. And there's also other features, like apparently it's very clunky to use the current data dumping system that Wikipedia has, whereas this new one will be way more streamlined. Does this mean Wikipedia is not a nonprofit anymore? Or were they ever like a legally classified nonprofit, or were they always a business?
I think they might technically have been, and then now they're launching a new version which isn't nonprofit. But I'm not really sure about that.
Because what does that mean then for people who like contribute to a Wikipedia page? Would that make them? Because you can't. There are certain nonprofit laws. If a company's a nonprofit, and then if you are a for-profit company, you can't have some of the features that a nonprofit has. And I know a lot of it has to do with employment and people doing work on something related to your business. That under a nonprofit, like they could for free. With certain things, and you can't do that as a for-profit. So I'm wondering for people who just, if I go right now and edit a Wikipedia page, like an actual edit, not a fucking meme edit too, what does that make me? And am I by law now considered an employee or a contracted individual?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't understand this entirely. I kind of wish Wired would explain a bit more if Wikimedia is completely separate. It says the Wikimedia Foundation operates the Wikipedia project in more than 300 languages, as well as other wiki projects. And it's announcing its own commercial product. I don't know what that means. A non-profit launching a commercial product. I guess that means they're not a non-profit, or maybe Wikipedia itself is non-profit and Wikimedia is for-profit. I think a for-profit can run a non-profit, right? Like how McDonald's runs the Ronald McDonald House of Charity.
Yeah.
I don't know like anything about business. I'm pretty sure other people here have taken more business courses than I have. Just thinking that sounds correct.
Yeah, don't quote us here on that, anyone listening, but I believe they can do that. That's probably how it's done. It's probably Wikimedia is a for-profit business, and Wikipedia itself is non-profit, like the actual separate service that is hosted via Wikimedia, and that's probably how they've been doing it, which makes sense. So I guess it's pretty cool that they're trying to get Google to pay up. I'm kind of surprised Google has not been paying for Wikipedia definitions this whole time. But then again, I shouldn't say that because, I too notice every now and then Wikipedia has a thing saying we need your help with funding. So it should have been pretty clear that they don't get funding from
But
big
also,
tech.
I hear that they don't really need as much funding as they claim.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard
So-
that for years. That they don't, they'll ask for money and they don't actually need all of it. But what I can't deny is when they ask, they probably do need some. To be fair, in all fairness. Now all of what they're asking for, like the amount of donations, I don't really know. But I don't know. Not very detailed response from me here, but I just think it's really cool that they're trying to get Google to pay up a little bit. This is a nice way to get them to pay up, after being partnered with them for so long for free, saying, hey, no, maybe pay us for these better features, but you don't have to. If you want, you can keep using our free shit. It's a nice way of going about it when compared to other ways that governments have gone about it, like the UK government with getting, was that the UK or Australia, with getting Google to pay for news related shit. We covered that. I think it was both of those countries had something to do with it, and Google said yes to the UK and no to Australia. I may have those two mixed up. But they were trying to get Google to pay news corporations for reporting news on Google News or something like that, or how Google delivers news via its search engine. They're trying to get Google to pay these companies, and Google's saying, no, that's stupid. And they were saying they would pull, it was Australia, they were saying they would pull out if they don't remove that. Then they said they were going to do it in the UK, and it was completely okay. I don't understand that. But this seems like a way better approach. Offering a premium for the enterprise version like that. Then again, this is kind of business 101, offering the premium service for money and then offering the basic one for free. So one could also see this as Wikipedia being behind by however many years they've been around as a service. I don't really see it that way personally. I think it's just they probably, if they're doing this, it's probably because they want to, hopefully, I'd really hope this is because they want to stop asking people for money at every other time they go to the website. But it probably isn't realistically. I believe Wikimedia is a business, so I don't really know. But it's good to see them trying to get money from Google. It's never not good. It's never not good to see someone trying to get money from Google. As we upload this podcast to YouTube. So,
Yep.
Pretty cool shit here from Wikipedia. Keep up the good work, I guess. I don't know. Do you guys think Wikipedia will ever not exist in our lifetimes? Because I can't imagine
the
a world without
internet shuts
Wikipedia.
down.
Well, okay, that's not a thing that will ever realistically happen because of the concept of the internet itself. But
Are
I
you
mean,
sure?
I honestly think any big company would bail them out first. That benefits from them, like Google, they would probably
well, you see, I don't know about bailing them out.
Make them monetary. Hellscapes or something.
Yeah. The good part about Wikipedia is, they've said, they do daily dumps of, it seems like, the entire site. So realistically, if someone had the capabilities to, they could host it themselves. But at the very least, if someone wanted to, they would, assuming they're backed up. I'm assuming Internet Archive, which is partially funded by the U.S. government, I believe other governments. So that's not going anywhere. I think they probably have at this point a full backup of Wikipedia, full backup of their page of site dumps, etc. So if Wikipedia were to one day die, I feel like there'd still be ways to access it, but I don't know if they ever would. It seems like the type of service that would get bought out before it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I do hope that day never comes that it's bought out, nor the day it comes that it's gone, unless it's actually just a shitty resource at that point that offers false information, but I doubt that'll ever happen. That it probably wouldn't. And I still remember a time when teachers would say, don't use Wikipedia because not all the information's always true. And that's changed so much over the past 10 years.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
They're
But
now
they still I think you can get suspended for using Wikipedia.
I don't
Unless
know. Well,
they change that.
Not in our high school. I don't know about colleges still.
As long as you don't plagiarize Wikipedia, I don't think you'd get expelled.
But they have all the sources at the bottom. Like that's the thing that ticks me off the most. Don't use Wikipedia. They don't put sources. Meanwhile, like half the webpage is sources.
Well, you got to keep in mind unless they're teachers that just aren't up to date on what the hell they're talking about. That was true. Like not 6 years ago.
Nowadays, the teachers are using Wikipedia. So
yeah. And there are things that every now and then are incorrect. I remember on E-Double's Wikipedia page, for a while it falsely stated that he died of an aggressive infection due to alcoholism. And something related to that. No, to clarify, it wasn't out of the question. It was definitely a possibility. But as someone who, is all but, at this point, all but friends, if not friends with his cousin, who he ran his record label with, I'd already confirmed with him in the past that even the doctors did not know the exact cause of death. So the fact that some random person updated the Wikipedia to say that was annoying. I corrected it and cited the source as I believe I uploaded the email in full as the source. And it was denied. I had proof of everything and it was denied. Now it's been corrected to say that he died of an aggressive infection. That had unknown causes, but many assumed, or it is rumored to be, or something like that, due to excessive drinking, which is a much better explanation because it really does seem like the most likely thing. But if doctors don't know, it doesn't mean it's true because it looks like it. The doctors are gonna know what it is more than one person's assumption, and they don't know. So by proxy, you don't. So, every now and then there is you'll come across something that's just completely false. But that doesn't normally happen. And although it's scary to think about, there's not really a but. It is just scary to think about that you could be writing some type of college thesis paper and use Wikipedia, and then one small detail is just 100% fabricated and not real. It does not happen that often. And in terms of E-Double, as much as I hate to admit it, his page isn't exactly the most active of pages. He has been deceased since 2017. Excuse me, 2018. I fucking forget that shit. Which, as dumb as that is to say, I've never been good with dates. I literally only remember my birthday. That's it. I don't even know what day Christmas is, for the record.
Seriously?
No, I don't. It's sometime in December. It's towards the end of December.
25th.
Yeah, by the way, today, I didn't even address this. Today's fucking St. Patrick's Day or some shit. I didn't even know.
Is it?
Yes, today's St. Patrick's Day. I didn't fucking know that.
Either.
And that's more fair of a thing that we didn't notice because no one's celebrating it today because we're still in COVID. No one's going out and doing
human malware.
And no one's doing all their parties and shit because that's just not something that's going to go on. But I've been awful with dates, so I'm really sorry they don't remember that. It's unfortunate that I don't. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let's see. I'll Google it now. So I don't have to fucking... E-Double died on February 13th, 2017. Okay, I was right. February 13th, 2017. So... E-Double is not, does not have the most active page since then. E-Double also never really hit the mainstream, so he never had a super active Wikipedia page to begin with. Whereas with Daft Punk, when they broke up, within literally 30 seconds of the video going live, the fucking Wikipedia page was updated. Their epilogue video, the Wikipedia page was updated to say they broke up. Or rather, it was actively being updated. So, they uploaded a video called Epilogue on this date, 2021, with the assumption that they broke up. And then, 2 minutes later, it was confirmed by the publicist. So, it was updated. That shit was insane. So, I don't know. I guess it's the bigger the person, the more well-known the person or person, place, or thing is, the more likely the Wikipedia information is to be incredibly accurate. And then also, Wikipedia will put question marks in little brackets next to things that are stated that have big importance with no source on most huge person, place, or thing pages. There's stuff on the Daft Punk page that says they did this. I forget exactly what it was, but there's a few things that just have question marks. There's no source stated at all. And some of them even say source ? So yeah, I don't know. But I hope Wikipedia doesn't go anywhere. It's still a invaluable resource.
Yeah.
We'll move on here to a story about Signal in China. It's from Reuters. Encrypted messaging app Signal stops working in China. In true China fashion, I really love how this entire article is structured. The app was still available on Apple's App Store in China as of Tuesday morning, and the app and website appear to be working normally in Hong Kong. The website was inaccessible in China on Tuesday morning. It was Signal's press team did not immediately respond. Okay, and then we get to the funny bit. Cyberspace Administration of China could not be immediately reached for comment. The app was already unavailable on third-party services in Android in China. Like, it's just all like China didn't say anything. China didn't say anything. Like, it's just stereotypical Chinese government didn't say anything about their practices. I just thought that was really funny that it's just that. It's a bunch of small sentences spaced out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's not a lot to report on here other than you just can't use Signal. We don't know fucking why, and we probably won't know why. Yeah, I love this really shitty, quote, file photo image that is, what is it, an S21 or an S20 or some shit? With a really low quality Signal logo, like, screenshot, a blue background, and then text that isn't even the font Signal uses put right below it. It's a really lazy, like, photo edit. So, yeah. I don't know. I feel bad for people in other countries who just can't use Signal. Everyone should be able to use the secure messaging app. I think it's kind of ridiculous. But, I mean, there's a lot of things that a lot of people think the Chinese government does are ridiculous, and they're not going to do anything about it. They don't give a shit. So, there's not a lot that can be done here other than use a VPN. And I don't know if that violates any Chinese law, so...
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah, it probably does. I just don't know.
Social points or whatever the fuck.
I think you lose your life.
Oh, yeah, that too.
I wouldn't put it past it. So, yeah, rip Chinese Signal users, I guess, both figuratively and hopefully not literally. But yeah.
Also, I love how the only advertisement on this website is now is a great time to invest in Latin American mining.
What?
Send me a screenshot. I have ad block on. Send me a screenshot of Latin America. What? Hold on, yeah. Send me a screenshot of that. Where is this?
It's
why
literally
is it
just
the same thing over and over and over?
Hey,
it gets better.
Epic,
Hold
get
on.
going. It's a good time to invest in Latin American mining. Go right now.
Same. You have ad block on? Epic.
Yeah, I have ad block on, and it's just getting through.
Yeah,
and there's also another one that's great.
What the fuck? There's so many. That is amazing.
That is nothing like mine.
That is so good.
Where are you getting that?
I love that. I love that those images so much.
Are you looking at it on your phone or something?
No, I'm looking at it on desktop, and the bottom of it is just, now is a great time to invest in Latin American mining.
I'm getting nothing but credit card ones.
Yeah, guys, just remember, don't feel peer pressured like these ads are trying to. Don't feel pure pressured to invest in Latin American mining.
This one says
I've already
invest
done
in
it.
pre-IPO companies. Okay.
That is.
There's a cursed image here. Hang on, I'm gonna screenshot it.
All right. God, that's such an it's awful and great. I fucking love it. That second one. How long is your webpage? God.
Maybe over half of it is just Latin American mining.
Yeah, I got 0 ads on my page.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, that's great. Well, Charles finds this shitpost, or memeable cursed image. We are going to move on to a story from Ars Technica. This is about TikTok. Unfortunately, TikTok wants to keep tracking iPhone users with state-backed workaround. Oh God, here's the cursed image. Jesus. He's got like a potato-shaped head.
Yeah,
it's an actual potato.
Yes.
Is this how the stock markets used to work?
That's the guy investing in Latin American mining. He's paying the fucking Latin American miners.
Yeah, the thing that their hands coming out of, it's Latin American mines. You didn't know?
This looks like the Onceler from the Lorax. Getting back to the TikTok article here. It looks like ByteDance and Tencent are testing a tool to bypass Apple's new privacy rules and continue tracking iPhone users without their consent to serve them targeted mobile advertisements. End quote from Ars Technica.
Yeah, I feel like Apple is either gonna completely shut them down or figure a way to stop this.
It'll be very interesting to see what Apple does here. And for context, CAID, which is this new method, circumvents Apple's IFD or IDFA system. It seems like it's the same thing, but not. That's essentially what it looks like. It'll be interesting to see what Apple's move is here, because although Apple have in the US been very, very clear, like they care about, user privacy, which pretty much just means only we are going to sell your data. No one else is going to. But they've been very clear about user privacy, not letting other apps do that. And then just in general with when I forget the name of the guy, but there was a terrorist who the government wanted to get into his phone, and they asked Apple to, and Apple just said no. And the government, I don't think they were able to get into it for many years until new exploits were discovered. But Apple just...
Are you sure it wasn't the one where they immediately got in anyway?
Maybe they did end up getting in, but they did. I know they did ask Apple directly, and Apple just said no, we're not gonna do that, and they held firm. They never backed down. And there were multiple times, for the record, that with multiple different cases that the government had asked Apple to, and they said no. So it wasn't just the one, but I know there was one big one that was over the news. So it'll be interesting to see if Apple will go up against what will amount to mainly their investors, big companies in China, and say no, we're not gonna allow your system. Since a lot of these companies have both stake in Apple, but also either work with Apple or work with companies that work with Apple and would ask them to not make shit for them, or it could just be a real hindrance to Apple as a whole. It'll be very interesting to see what the fuck happens. I don't really know who to root for here. I don't really have a great opinion, because on one hand it's like Chinese companies being scummy, and then the other hand it's like, well, if Apple, it would be cool in a way to see it happen to Apple, to see them have to go against this shit and fight them and fight for our privacy and stuff, and even get kicked out of China, as bad as that sounds, because they do employ a lot of underage labor, I believe, and a lot of really unpaid workers and shit.
I'm pretty sure they're moving away from China too.
Yeah, I know they do it in India. Yeah. But on the other hand,
do a thing on the podcast?
We did.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I don't I wouldn't wish that upon Apple either. I wouldn't wish for them to get into all that shit and everything. So I don't know how to feel exactly, but it will definitely be very interesting to see Apple's next move here. It will be extremely interesting to see if they say they're not going to do, they continue to do nothing about it. I really hope they do something, I guess. That if I had to put an opinion down, I hope they do something about it. They claim all the time, they care about your privacy first, and if they do, then Cade should be not allowed on the App Store and apps in it. But yeah, I'm gonna breeze through this shit quickly here because we are way over time. We have 2 stories left here. The next one's from Activision Blizzard. It's from IGN about Activision Blizzard, who has reportedly laid off 190 employees. Jesus. These were layoffs. They weren't. Hold on. Why did they say? Okay, they said laid off. I just thought fired. My brain just stopped working. This affected less than 2% of the company's employees, which is about 190 employees. 50 of these worked in Activision's esports division. I quite frankly don't know why Activision of all companies needs to lay off workers. It's literally like saying EA needs to lay off people because they don't have enough money, but they do.
Wait a minute. It says every laid-off worker was given a $200 gift card to BattleNet.
Yeah, I saw that.
God.
Imagine getting laid off from work and he's like, here's $200 that goes right back to us.
Yeah. I'd rip that shit up. I'd light it on fire. I did not see that. I saw the $200. I'm like, oh, okay, that's just part of it. I didn't see the BattleNet part. That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's like when GameStop did that shit that we covered when they said if you work overtime, like you can, what was it? They were offering employees the chance to work more hours to earn overtime.
Yeah. On Christmas or something.
Yeah. It's like an asshole move. It's not. What the fuck are they gonna use a $200 BattleNet card on? You know, I don't think they're gonna want to go buy your products after you lay them off. They can't buy food with it. I don't know if there's in-game food they can buy, but they can't buy real food with it. Yeah. I didn't read it too much here. They probably blamed it on the pandemic, or they probably will blame it on the pandemic, or that's probably what they would say. Activision, you don't need to lay people off. You're a fucking how many billion-dollar company? You're fine. You're fine. You don't need to do this. It's just for money. Activision's already made it clear in the past that they're pretty much smaller EA. Not smaller by much. So I don't understand why we're laying people off except for money. And I don't really see if there being any other excuse, even if there is a valid one. But that's more me having a heavy opinion. And we'll move on here to a kind of puzzling story that on surface level looks to be cut and dry, but it really isn't. It's from Power Nation TV, who I've never ever heard of. YouTuber who jumped the Ram TRX and starts with 18 criminal accounts. Apparently, for the first part of it, straightforward. A YouTuber jumped his Ram, and is
the animal, not the vehicular company. You know.
Nah. Yeah, can you imagine you fucking like ride a real Ram, you make it jump, and then you get charged with 18 criminal counts?
That would make more sense.
Yeah, that'd make more sense.
You know? Yeah, course, yeah, you're right. Animal abuse,
doing,
right?
But yeah.
In this guy's video, which I watched a bit of on my own, but also in here, it says, like, this is a quote from the Power Nation TV. However, Mike said he doesn't believe his actions warranted the charges since he was invited onto the private property for the videos. His team was not destructive to the environment, in his opinion, which, I mean, they just ground up dirt and grass, so that's kind of debatable.
Yeah, I looked a little at the video.
It was private property, though.
I looked a little at the video, and they said something about water. So
yeah.
Apparently, they drove through a stream.
Apparently, saying his vehicle didn't appear to leak anything into the stream that could harm wildlife.
The fairly new, Ram, so it shouldn't have been pissing oil.
I mean, again, we can go back to anything. Product. We can go to anything to counter that. We can go to any different type of product. Any new, just because it's new doesn't mean it wouldn't have a failure. What I will say is, I don't know why, at least it's not stated here if it is or not, but since it's not stated, I'm going to make the assumption it's not. Why isn't the water been tested?
No, they just want money.
I guess.
That's a good chance. They might just be money hungry counties.
I don't know. The environmental destruction thing, I think, is the only thing that holds a bit of weight, but the fact that it's on private property that he's allowed to be on, I think kind of counters a bit of that. And then the stream thing, they're going to have to prove that. They're going to have to prove he lost literally any contaminant from the vehicle that would poison the wildlife. And I don't know how they'd be able to prove that. So I'm not sure if I'll follow this one for updates, but if it goes really sour, we'll definitely hear about it on the news, because it's a story that will definitely attract like news, attention from big news companies. Man jumps truck and then gets like arrested or some shit.
Yeah, let me just mention though, the thing that Hoonigan and like other companies like Toyo Tires and stuff like that, it says do this on your own private property. and stuff like that. But apparently that's now illegal.
The only thing about hoonigan is they do it on non-private property with like the
but
permission of like the city
they get
stuff,
permission. Yeah. They get permission.
What I'm wondering here too, this guy's giving away a fucking Corvette. He's clearly loaded. So I'm wondering if it could actually
just kind of bullshit.
Well, the way he's giving away a Corvette is you have to buy stuff from his merch store.
But he's still giving away a fucking car. Like this guy's loaded enough that I can see why they
money.
Yeah,
so.
And he's walking around showing off. I don't know. One of those is a Lamborghini. The other one I can't tell. Looks like
He has a Lamborghini Aventador and a Urus.
Yeah, and then of course there's a Corvette behind him, and then there's like 3 other cars too.
The person who owns the private property thinks about this.
I don't know. I feel like if anything, the person who owns the private property should be charged for allowing this. But then again, I'm not even sure if anyone here should be charged in general.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I really don't fucking know, honestly. I have no idea what the fuck's gonna happen with this. It really doesn't seem like either side has a great... because the thing is, too, this guy doesn't do a great job of explaining his full, counter argument to them. But then again, he's not a lawyer. It doesn't seem like the county's done a great job. But then again, this is one article. I haven't looked into the papers myself, if they're even public. So I don't know. There's not a lot here to go off. But from just what it seems like here, it seems like this guy may be a bit more innocent than the county wants to show him as.
Yeah.
But I don't really know.
Thanks, Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. Yeah.
Nobody likes the DNR.
But yeah, that is our last topic for today. Thank you guys so much for listening on Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all 4 other things on Anchor that I still haven't looked at because I still don't know what they are. Don't
worry, one day we'll figure out who you are.
One day we will. Let's see here. Available on 6 platforms. So what do we got? We have Anchor itself. That's not really a thing. Breaker.audio. I don't know what that is. Pocket Casts? What? Radio Public? What are these? Well, at any rate, if you're listening on one of those, thank you for listening. I've never ever heard of Radio Public, Pocket Cast, or Breaker.
Don't worry, we know you exist now.
Yeah, we now know you exist.
Actually, you probably don't exist yet, but now you might exist someday.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time.